George Musumba on the Hub on StarFm.
This is Late Night Politics on StarFM, taking an in-depth look at the Zimbabwean political scene.
It's a Monday and it's time for Late Night Politics. My name is George Musumba. Now, in the world of politics, ZANU-PF completed its primary elections today in areas that had registered irregularities. We are still awaiting the outcome of that process. The MDC-T, led by Thokozani Kupe, launched its manifesto on Saturday in Bulawayo, whilst the MDC-T, led by Professor Welchman Ncube, unveiled its candidates for the 2018 elections. The MDC-T, led by Advocate Nelson Chamisa, held its consensus meetings over the weekends, and certain constituencies flared up and reports of violence as some party supporters felt that some candidates were being imposed by the leadership were reported. We're still going to find out what is has consensus been reached, or should they just go for primary elections? Now, one of the fallouts from the process is Harare West MP Jesima Jome announced today that she'll be running as an independent after alleging that the MDC-T primary elections in her constituency were being tilted in favor of a rival, Joanna Mamombe, by party leadership. One would be tempted to make the topic for tonight: is Zimbabwe a failed intra-party democracy project? We have to learn how to handle intra-party democracy before we tackle national democracy. Some have said in Zimbabwe we have an imagined textbook laissez-faire democracy. This is why we now have spiraling entrenched primary election problems. They are used by leaders to impose loyalists. That's why people are opting to going solo as independent candidates, and some are throwing fits and halves to say because but tonight, though, we will not touch on that issue of primary elections or our nascent democracy. I know that democracy is not built in a day. Tonight our topic is voting patterns. Do you vote along party lines, or you vote for a candidate based on what capabilities they have? And we must remember that the party that wins will choose the majority of the cabinet ministers from the elected MPs. To help us in our discussion, I have in the studio ZANU-PF member Dr. MAVHAZA. Welcome to Late Night Politics.
Welcome, George. Welcome, listeners.
Also in the studio, I have MDC-T Youth Assembly Secretary General LOVEMORE CHINOPUTSA. Welcome.
No, thank you, Judge, for having me.
Both of you are not new to the program. You have been here countless times, but the heat is getting hotter in the oven. Politics dzacho dzakupisa, vamwe vari kudeta tovhota, vamwe vakuvengana paFacebook. Iwe unosapotere uyo, iwe unosapotere uyo, uya kwangu iwe, iwe haunoti wauri kusapota haiti here. Temperatures have been rising. Just a few words to kuti musettle in. Zvakamira sei kunze uko, Dr. MAVHAZA?
Thank you, George. Pese panongoitwa sarudzo, kune vanoruza nevanowina. But they are bad losers. They are not happy to lose. There is always a system you could choose the people. If there was no system to choose people, people will just be all winners. So people have to fight hard, they have to work hard, they have to show the reason why they should be chosen. So of course, Kunzoko, we've got some very angry people, and some people, when they lose, they blame the system, even if the system is perfect. And some people, if they win, they are blamed for having been favored, even if they've got the majority. But yes, there are some irregularities here and there which have been sorted, but the reality is out there. We have a number of people who have not been very excited with the outcome of the primaries. But for now, ZANU-PF is coming back, found each other. They are now a united front, and we are ready to go.
And LOVEMORE CHINOPUTSA, how is the temperature there? You are going around campaigning, you have been holding massive rallies. How is it out there?
The momentum is gaining traction every day. I think the people are showing support for us, and we are happy that people continue to come to our rallies. And we are also going through our candidate selection process. Now we have dealt with what we termed consensus building processes, where we were engaging our candidates to see if it's possible for them to talk and negotiate amongst themselves or between themselves, depending on the number, so that we limit the number of primary elections that we hold as much as possible. We are all just doing this. It's a voluntary exercise, but we're doing this to make sure that we limit the friction and the conflict that arises out of primary elections. But otherwise, we are ready to go, and we are happy with the process. The other candidates that have agreed, but others have said, let the people decide, and surely people are going to decide who will stand.
There were temperatures rising in certain constituencies. How are you managing that?
Well, we have internal mechanisms to deal with concerns around the electoral process, our internal electoral processes, and the National Elections Directorate is seized with all the appeals of one way, of one form or the other, that have arisen from be it the vetting process that started, because obviously when people put in their CVs, there's to be some vetting of some sort to determine your eligibility to participate in these elections. So the others who felt that it was not in their best interest to have been removed, and they have been appealing, and the relevant authority, the relevant organ of the party is dealing with that, which is the party building department. But also again, we've also deliberately also affirmed and pushed for the youth and the women quota, which is an affirmative action to make sure that women are represented at the highest level, and also young people are taken on board. So these are some of the issues that are happening, and but we're happy basically with progress that is happening, where people are beginning to understand why some of these decisions have been made, and some are beginning to appreciate that we need to be able to have women, we need to be able to have young people getting into parliament and cabinet as well.
Okay. For those listeners who want to join the conversation, you can do so on our WhatsApp number 077-5897-897. Later on, we'll open up our phone lines. Munovota muchitarisa bato here kana kuti munovota muchitarisa munhu kuti uyu anokwanisa here kuzotisvitsa kukenani, anotikwanisa here kuzotimirira kumberi uko. Ndomubvunzo watiri kuvhunza nhasi pano pa Late Night Politics. Saka pindai pachirongwa pa WhatsApp number 077-5897-897. Mustudio tina MDC-T Youth Assembly Secretary General LOVEMORE CHINOPUTSA ari kubato rava Nelson Chamisa, uyezve tinewe ku ZANU-PF Dr. MAVHAZA tichidiscussa nyaya iyoyo. How do you vote? What are the voting patterns in Zimbabwe? Are they still the same as in 2013, or vanhu vakuda kutarisa kuti aiwa munhu wamuri kutipa uyu ndiye here? Vanhu vari kuchuza here kana kuti ari kubva kumusoro ngokandwa unzi tora iye ndiye watakupai? Dr. MAVHAZA, there have been difficulties in the conduct of primary elections, even in ZANU-PF itself, and the process has taken this long to reach its conclusion. Why do we have these difficulties in conducting primary elections? They seem to be even more difficult than the main elections.
Right, yes. I do agree there are difficulties in primary elections world over. The point is because we are selecting an individual who is liked and wanted by the people. Now, in ZANU-PF, we believe that the voice of the people is the voice of the party. And we believe that when people speak, they have to choose the person they want. We don't reach a dictatorial term which is called consensus by the MDC-T or MDC alliance. Consensus is not democratic in any way, where candidates speak among themselves to say who should represent people, when people are there to choose who should represent them. The party must not be afraid of a friction and stop primaries simply because there will be friction. Let people go there, fight it out democratically, and come out with candidates. So, as ZANU-PF, yes, there have been challenges. We cannot say they went smooth. They were not very smooth, but that's democracy. There is always a price to pay in democracy. The freedoms in democracy are watered by the sweat and the blood of these elections, and it is necessary, therefore, that there be such particular. But now, coming to the question, just in short, it is very clear that when we vote, the pattern, Zimbabwe operates a multi-party democracy, which means when we go to elections, it is wise to vote on party lines, because people have already done their individual selections in primaries, and then they've got now an MP representing them, or rather a representative for constituencies. Now, when we select a person, we are looking at the point that this person is going to carry a mandate of the people and the party. We measure the person's performance by his party and by what the party has promised. We are few days to go to the elections. ZANU-PF has given its manifesto, which MDC has not and is still yet to. And they are already choosing candidates who are going to be campaigning on no manifesto, on no promise, except a bullet train or here and there, and an airport somewhere. But the reality of the matter is there is no policy in place, which is reduced down into a manifesto. Now, on that basis, you can see a party which cannot come up with a manifesto 2 months before elections, which cannot allow people to choose their own representative and call it consensus when they actually appoint. Jessima Jome has put it very clearly that it was dictatorial way MDC has worked in her constituents, and the way they've elbowed and pushed her out and put people of their choice. There are so many areas in constituencies for the MDC where the dictatorial ways they are calling the new generation is taking place. So it is a pity that we are a country now with an opposition which is pro-dictatorship and the government which is now going towards democracy and in democratic ways.
LOVEMORE CHINOPUTSA MAVAZA taura zvakawanda hanzi consensus munodi ngoenda munovharira nemuri vatungamiri mochuza madi ngoenda straight kuma primary elections, uyezve hanzi ndimi makutiza nyaya dzedemocracy munenge makutoita dictatorial. Pindurai zvataurwa naDr. MAVHAZA.
Ukaona ZANU yoti nanga nemikana nezvamunenge muchiita, unobva wangoona kuti zvinoreva zvinhu zviviri. Chokutanga zvinoreva kupererwa, chepiri zvokutanga zvinoreva kuti munenge vanenge kupererwa kwebato, chepiri kungoreva izvo kuti vanenge vasina nguva yekuronga nekuruka musangano wavo, asi vanenge vachingoteerana nekuti zvii zvaitika kuMDC. Asi chandoda kutaura ndechekuti aiwa, MDC musangano wavanhu, musangano mukuru chaizvo, ende musangano uri kuziva zvauri kuita. We are not going to take lessons or advice from how any other organization in this country is doing its own things, but we are going to be doing things that are determined by the current situation obtaining in our own party, and we have not stopped anyone. We said this is a voluntary exercise, and anyone who wants to participate in this is participating, and even people are disagreeing. So, which means that we are going to have primary elections. All we have done is we've just said we need to be able to manage the way we do our things, and we believe we're on course. But otherwise, for anyone to then think that the MDC is off the mark by doing things that has been agreed upon within our own internal structures, I think it would be misnomer.
Let me just read some of the messages coming through. Kana Munu akaonekwa kuti is not suitable kuti a contest nema structures. We don't force as ZANU-PF, we follow the constitution and our values. That's a contribution from one listener there. And I would advise people not to call on the WhatsApp because it is specifically for messaging. It is not for sending WhatsApp calls and so forth. And it's not a matter of age. We want a leader who is mature, eager, visionary, and educated people choose where they see their leader. And mostly Zimbabweans do vote based on party politics. We should shift from such politics. The Marion from Harare North. Hans, it's Neumwe, Hansi. Normally we don't consider an individual. In Zimbabwe, people will just vote for the sake of voting, and later on we'll open up our phone lines to find out why do people vote and why do they choose, because as far as ZEC is concerned, we have got about 5.6 million registered voters. The new one now, last time I think we were about, Vakanyatso voter, it was about 3 million in total. So there is a new pool of voters. Atizuti varikubato ripi, atizuti vachaenda na nkosana mohere, atizuti vachaenda ne bato ripi, ADP, ere kana uti PDP, kana uti chichi. Saka, as political parties, these are new voters you have to convince. It's no longer business as usual to say, you have to convince people that the legislators that you are putting forth will deliver. Now,
I wanted to respond first from what my friend here had said. Firstly, you know, it is naive for anybody to think that if you are in opposition, the other party must not look at what you are doing. The reason why we have an interest in what MDC is doing is because we have an interest of Zimbabwean people at heart. We are saying, if we, God forbids, if by any chance of misfortune that MDC wins, what are we leaving people in the hands of? So we look at all the opposition people surrounding us, surrounding the people, surrounding the party. So therefore, you cannot be an opposition party or a political party without looking at your opponent. You know, MDC are not our enemies; they are opponents in a political struggle. We are not fighting. We are not physical. We are friends, all with one aim. But when a friend wants to take over a seat, we have an interest invested in our people. So therefore, the interest of ZANU-PF in what MDC is doing is not for ZANU-PF, is for the people of Zimbabwe. And we are saying to the people of Zimbabwe, can you vote for a person who has been forced upon you? Why don't you go for primary elections? What my colleague is explaining here as consensus is where 2, 3 people with an interest to represent a constituents come together, discuss the 3 of them, and choose the 3 of them who should represent the constituents. A constituent of 1 million people is going to be decided by 3 people. That is very horrible. And therefore, so we are saying, if MDC is movement for democratic change, then they must do some democratic change. But now their actions are showing us that they are now called movement for democratic chaos, because there is no longer democracy in what they are doing now.
I'm worried and confused.
You really have to be worried.
I'm worried and confused by the level of reasoning from this guy. Honestly, I don't know where he is getting whatever he say. He wants to pretend as if he knows what is happening. He wants to pretend as if he has a clue in terms of what the consensus building process is all about. But unashamedly is failing to explain or to tell the people of Zimbabwe what it really means. And
let's get to the point. How does the MDC-T select people who are going to stand for election?
Yeah, we believe that a person who will stand for elections in this country under the MDC banner should be a person of repute. We want someone who is able to garner votes themselves over and above the votes that to accumulate because they belong to a sound and to a sound political party as the MDC. We send out circulars that clearly indicated the criteria in terms of what you needed, the minimum requirements for one to be a candidate. And obviously, the first minimum requirement is that one should have been in the party for at least 5 years, and also depending on the level. There are certain qualifications, not necessarily qualifications, but there are certain things that you need to carry in order for your standing in society, what you do, what we have, how, and also we want the district or the ward, if you want to be a councillor, the ward that you come from should be able to write a letter of recommendation that accompanies your CV. If you are going for the constituency, that same district needs to be able to do the same, so that at least we know the kind of person that you are. And then the second part that comes is obviously the security vetting, because we understand and know the implications of infiltration. So the second layer that then comes is the security vetting, where the party's intelligence department goes through the CVs of these people until they are satisfied that these people are really capable and they stand a chance to represent the MDC. But basically, all we expect from people that represent the MDC is that they need to be people that carry a certain level of what comes within society, people that are respected, people that carry a voice, and people that are able to work with communities. We don't just take anyone for the sake of caring people simply because it's democracy. We want people that have the potential. We want people that know what they are doing. So we believe that, we also believe as MDC that for one to be elected, they have to prove that they are capable before we give the opportunity. So we are saying amongst the people that are there, at the end of the day, it is the structures that will then determine the best amongst the few that would have been selected, so that amongst those best, those good will have the best.
For those who have just joined the program, it's Late Night Politics. We are discussing voting patterns. Do you vote along party lines or you vote for a capable candidate? And good evening. The truth should be told, MDC-T have completely failed in candidate selection process. CHINOPUTSA is not defending the party, but he is defending his faction. We will give you a chance to respond to that. Hanzi, kunoton kwava mutsvangwa uko ndiyo free and fair election yacho yamunotaura here ndipita kuChitown. Those are some of the comments coming through. Hanzi, urikudzwa chokwadi CHINOPUTSA MDC-T supporter, but candidate imposition nyanyanya, you will learn in the hardest way ku MDC-T uko. Mstudio tina ZANU-PF member Dr. MAVHAZA, as well as MDC-T Youth Assembly Secretary General LOVEMORE CHINOPUTSA, MDC-T Yava Nelson Chamisa. Panama issues are raised up. I'll also give you a chance to respond later on. Kutanz uruku faction. I don't know which name of faction because Madam Kupe waka budaka kupatu kupani mwere wachinoPUTSA ndo mwamfunzo what now.
The MDC is a united party. There are no factions within the MDC. I stand for what we believe in as a collective. There is no faction. We are all solidly behind the candidature of President Nelson Chamisa.
That's not very true, but anyway,
yava mutsvangwa tichaipindira because tichada kutarisa mascenario iyoyo ya Jesse Majome chimbomirai kupinda imomo. Tiri kupinda manje mairi, but pa selection of candidates ku ZANU-PF vamwe vakacomplaina kuti pakaita hula balloon social media kanzi ZANU-PF vanhu vari contesta primary election vamwe macho criminal.
Right, I do agree with you, but before I answer that, rega ndingo responda ndingoti mbichana zvataura na vachinoPUTSA panapa. Chekutanga, consensus, as he explained, because Ati is surprised and confused at the level of my understanding. I know it's a bit higher that it confuses him, and I apologize for that level. But then he tries then to explain what is consensus, and he says they look at a candidate who controls or demands or controls or drives greater support, so that they can make that candidate their candidate, so that they can get the support. Now, the only way you can see could you demand or you control such support is through a primary election. You have to have a majority win in the primary election, so that the party can have confidence that you are able to command such support. But you cannot be able to command such support by getting a letter from your district, which is given by those in leadership already.
This guy is confused. Does he understand where I'm coming from?
Right.
I was explaining on the issue of how does someone become a candidate, not consensus. So he's mixed. You are mixing. You need to bring a certain level of understanding of issues or to right. Platforms of this nature. There's no reason to.
Secondly, now consensus, as he had said it, which is not up to now, has not said it. He's failing to say it himself. He had said in brief, candidates meet, or prospective candidates meet together, discuss amongst themselves, and come up with one who must represent people in that constituency, which means a candidate is selected by other candidates, only 3 or 4, depending on Vangani or 2. So in other words, he's saying 300,000 people are going to be decided upon their choice by 3 people one of those three is the candidate. So in other words, the one is voting for himself, and his two other brothers who wanted to become the members. So you look at it,
your level of confusion.
That's not democracy.
Your level of confusion.
Let's move it on.
We are saying these three sit on to talk and discuss about whether any one of them can live. Not to choose to say this one will be. So it's self-introspection to say, do I want to continue or I want to stand aside? When one person or two people or three people remain, the ultimate arbiters of this are the people. So when, for instance, we're in Mpare and we've had three candidates, and there's an self-introspection. People have decided. People have sit down. You say why you want to represent, the others say why they want to represent, and if you decide, you are not deciding on any other person, you are deciding on for your own self. So if you decide that you don't want to continue in this race, you then pull out. It's not that you're going to say this one should be. The final arbiter, even if you remain one, the final arbiter to check whether you are the candidate will be the people. So I don't know where you are getting lost.
But what you said,
okay, let's move it on, Dr. MAVHAZA.
You don't understand.
That's okay.
Because you've not been part of this process.
Let's move it on.
You can't claim to know things that you are not part of.
The primary elections in ZANU-PF, some say that there were a lot of people with dubious histories who were running in the primaries. Was there no proper vetting? How did they get through the net?
There was a proper vetting.
If there was
any criminal who managed to go through, the names will be put to the head office, where the head office will look at the final list and come up with the final list approved by the office, having been selected by people. Now, what we are looking at here is, if there was a person who you think was a criminal, and then people love him and voted for him, the party looks at it and say, what damage is this going to give to us as a party? And then make a final decision at the end. But the first thing to start with is the democratic aspect, where we say people from the grassroots must choose whom they want. If they choose a thief, that they want that thief to represent them, it's up to the party now to look at the values the party respects and look at. That's why when we are voting on the party lines, we are looking at the policy the party has. Even if a person was a selector kuti atimirire in that constituency, asatsva nevanhu kuvamirira constituency, if the party feels otherwise and people feel otherwise, the party follows the voice of the people. So in short, yes, in every democratic fight, there is always the one who will come up crying. That's what I'm saying. That fear of facing the people and people's wrath is the fear which drove the MDC to do what they call consensus, and they call it confusing, and it's not even explained up to now.
Hansi, please, MDC-T Youth Assembly Secretary General, don't lie to Zimbabweans. It's not by consensus, but you are imposing, like Kwama Jome and Chitungwiza North. May you tell us who selected Hansi Godfrey Sitole in Chitungwiza North? Don't be a sweet talker while you are not saying the truth. No primaries in Chitungwiza North, no MDC seat in Chitungwiza North. I think that's a disgruntled member there. Hansi, evening, I'm not a politician, but using general knowledge, the ruling party has been ruling for the past 37 years and people are struggling. So we don't have to put it back on the ruling this country. If we are normal, we would rather choose from opposition parties, ZANU-PF out of the competition. That's another view there. Those are two contending views. CHINOPUTSA, you will respond to the issue raised by the listener there. But people are also pakuda kuvhota, vamwe varongoti ngatichibvisa ZANU tichisa vamwe chero tangoisa vamwe. Imi seZANU muri kupaona sei? Is it because you have been in power for 37 years vamwe vanoti chichinyuwani chamungaunza?
ZANU-PF has been in power for 37 years. That we agree. 38 years, we do agree. But the new dispensation has been in power as a new dispensation with new ideas, with the new things coming up for the past 6 months. So ZANU-PF is not a static party. It's dynamic. It continues to change. Now we are in a process of changing, bringing in new things. The country is now open for business. Investors are coming in. You know, we have a big problem here where people are looking at the past. We don't dwell on the past. We are now looking forward. We are visionaries. We are ZANU-PF. We are looking forward. What do we do for the people now? Things have changed. Yes, all along, opposition, in particular MDC, they were having their mantra, Mugabe must go mantra. Mugabe is gone. Now they've changed. ZANU-PF must go. They have no policy. They are not telling us how they want to do ABC. We are saying to the people, as ZANU-PF, we are now a new party. We are now a new outfit. We are now a fully democratic party. And we are going ahead in that democratic way to develop the country, to do something better. Give us a chance. We have started only in November. We cannot expect a miracle within 6 months. Give us another 5 years, then you'll really love this country. It is different from simply saying, let's vote them out because they've been there for a long time. You cannot chuck somebody away from you because they've been there for a long time. There has to be a reason. We are saying things are changing. Look around you, things are changing. Yes, we have got challenges. Now, the first thing, we are relying on an American dollar. We are going towards changing that thing. But what's going on? The MDC-T, MDC alliance in particular, rushed to America and asked for sanctions, and they came in like they didn't, but it came out their head. Even told the American government not to give us the dollar we are using. So they are simply saying, let the Zimbabweans suffer so that they can vote ZANU-PF out. ZANU-PF is saying, we have suffered enough, give us another term, we'll make things better. We are a democratic party.
Have more coming?
Oh, the challenge that I hear from what my colleague has just said is that he wants to detach himself and together with ZANU-PF from the collective mess that they put in this country. It's there, it's on public record, and it's in the public domain that ZANU-PF collectively has failed to run this country for the past 37 years. We cannot be forced to want to believe or to think that simply because President Mnangagwa became president 6 months ago, therefore we should not be expecting any changes in this country. In those 6 months that he has been around, there should have been serious changes that we have seen. You cannot, ZANU-PF as a ruling party cannot continue to promise. They should be delivering. They should, implementation of what they stand for is what we should see. And then the people of Zimbabwe then decide to say we should be able to give these people a chance. But because they've not been doing anything, and because they want to run away and hide under the facade that because there was Mugabe, they wanted to portray as if it was Mugabe alone who was doing all these things, when they are all responsible for what has been happening. So the first step and the first thing that they need to do is to acknowledge that they are part of the mess that they created, and therefore it's either they had to make sure that they change things that they've done wrongly in the 6 months that they were given and the opportunity by the army through the coup that took place. When they fail to do that, it means when people are given an opportunity to choose who they want to lead them, obviously they will make a determination considering who stands a better chance of giving them something new, something better from what they've been having over these years. So the MDC is not and has never had its agenda around Mugabe as an individual. It has had its agenda around making sure that we want to see a developmental democratic state in this country. We anchored on the several values of social democracy, that is your freedom, transparency, and amongst other things that I encourage him to read. But more over and above all this, we are saying that ZANU-PF as an institution has been given enough chance, has been given enough opportunity, and they should be delivering and not to talk of promises. You can't be promising us forever and forever. We need to see things, if things do not come, it's time for other people to be given an opportunity. And that is what's going to happen in July or August.
George, where LOVEMORE is swimming in a deep pool of confusion is the fact that when you've done something wrong, you must not correct it.
You first acknowledge that you've done things wrong.
Things have not gone well for the past 37 years. We are now a different outfit. Our name is still ZANU-PF.
Because the army has taken over.
The army has not taken over. There is no army which has taken over. You see, what makes me sure with this LOVEMORE is totally confused. We saw Zimbabweans on the street in November. That included this MDC, but BT was there. He was there. They were all marching in town, going to the State House. They wanted Mugabe to go, and ZANU-PF people members were there. MDC were there. Zimbabweans were there. So when that happened, it was not ZANU-PF which had a coup. There was no coup at all. It was only that the army assisted the people. And we are now in this situation, which is very good. Things are going better. Now, look at this. We have problems. Our roads are a mess in every town we think of. Who has been running the towns for the past 15 years? MDC. All mayors everywhere. Look, the MDC mayors. Government has been giving the MDC council, MDC run councils, local governments, a budget to develop the cities. They didn't. They stole the money. We had so many. We have prosecuted a number of them, and we will still do. So MDC cannot say they never had a chance to develop. They've got a chance to develop our towns. They failed. Look at our main roads. Harare Mutare Road is perfect. No potholes. Harare Blair Road is perfect. No potholes. Look at any street in Harare where the MDC led council is the one leading. Potholes. We can even bury a car in there.
So, Dr. MAVAZA, if we are going to get back to our topic, should people vote along party lines or capable lines?
Right. People should vote along party lines for two reasons. Number one, if you vote along capable lines, you are voting for an individual who has no support from his party or from anywhere else to continue to execute the whatever he thinks he's capable of doing. So you need a person who has a base, who has a support base, and you can only get that from your party. So a person you vote for must be accountable to the people who have voted for him and to his party. So if you vote for an individual who has no party, there is no progress in any way. There is no way you can complain him to. But if there is a party,
kokana inini ndiri munombare is where ndiri kuZANU-PF for example, but MDC-T in a better patinotoona kuti apa vakaisa munhu hagakaga munhu anogona kudeliver semuZimbabwe ndongovhotera party here indichiona kuti apata candidate uyo anenge anogona uyu.
You must always know kuti munhu anenge anogona, look at what power is pushing him. People who are being pushed by a divided power called MDC Alliance, with people when we are in an alliance only for the purpose of removing ZANU-PF. You see, MDC Alliance is actually driving the country into chaos. They are saying we are only united for the purpose of removing ZANU-PF. Once we remove ZANU-PF, they are not telling people what they will do after that. So you cannot play with your future by voting for a party which simply has one aim, to remove ZANU-PF and nothing further. And once they remove ZANU-PF, they start fighting among themselves. BT would want to take over, this one wants to take over. And this is a party which is based on 99% lies. You will tell us, if he wishes to, that Chamisa was actually caught out lying even in England, and that talk exposed the lies he has made here and there. He lied to people that once MDC gets into power, you'll get 15 billion to make our economy better. We discover there's no 15 billion coming because there was never a Trump who was met. So if you look at that, it means you don't vote for an individual who is powered by a party which is no substance. You must vote for an individual who is powered by a party with a policy which is well defined, well articulated, and given to the people to see and understand.
LOVEMORE, let's come back to you. Nasi, iwe LOVEMORE kurana. Toda mbokupa tichimbocool down my temperature mstudio. Mbotudza kwa kurana.
Inini ndiri kurana kunonzi kuSaka Central. Ndoka ndichange tsvaga rutsigiro rwokuti ndinge ndichimirira sangano yeMDC.
Saka vanhu vekuZaka Central uri kuzokwikwidza nani kuZANU?
KuZANU kuna engineer Davison Shure ndo vakagona kubirira zvakanaka vakapinda musarudzo dzakaitwa dzemaprimary ZANU-PF. Saka ndo vachange vakamirira musangano weZANU-PF ikoko.
Saka vanhu mavhoters ekuZaka vanenge vachitarisira chichi chaunenge uchiti uchavaitira.
But I think he has to withdraw his statement. Engineer havana kubirira vakawina. I know vanobirira ndeMDC vari kubirira napacheza vabirira Manjomele as we speak now. But I think he has to correct that.
All right. CHINOPUTSA.
Next time I think you need to invite us with the people vanenge vakaita sokuti kwani kuti tikwanise kuita ma discussion anenge ari progressive.
Tichitaura kuti zvauri kutarisira vanhu mavhoters ari kuti ndezvipi zvauri kuvada kuvapa?
Isusu MDC hatidi kupa vanhu zvinhu nekuti chatinoda isusu ndechekuti nyika inge yakagara zvakanaka, mikana ichiwaniswa kune vanhu vese. Dambudziko rataita munyika muno nderekuti tiri kupa vanhu anganzi muchirumbi mafreebies kana kuti kupa vanhu zvinhu zvinoita kuti mangwana varamba
ndiri kutaura maideas.
Maideas hatinawo isusu, handinawo inini, ndeyekuti tinoda kundotsvaga nzira dzekusumudzira nzvimbo dzakawanda kunyanyanya sezaka iruzevha kana kuti iruwa rakasarira panyaya yekuti development chaiyo haisi kuwanikwa ichiwanika yakawanda munzvimbo imomo. So donzvo rangu nderekuti tinofanira kutsvaka vakawanda vanofanira kubatsira. Tinoda kutsvaga manetwork evanhu vanokwanisa kuuya kuzosimudzira. Tine maindustry, mahome industry anogona kugadzirika zvichienderana nezviwanikwa zvatinazvo munzvimbo yezaka. So hurumende inonge ifanira kunge ichinetswa, ichikumbirwa, ichivhunzurudzwa kuti yava papi maringe nokuunza budiriro munzvimbo yezaka. Asi neparutivi zvakare tinenge tichitsvaga whether kune vemabhizimusi, kune vemakereke, kune vemaorganization kuti ndezvipi zvavangaita kuya kuzosimudzira nzvimbo yezaka. Madzimai anoda kubatsirwa kuti anga achikwanisa kuwana cheuviri, vechidiki vanoda kubatsirwa kuti zvinhu zvavo zvinge zvichifamba. Asi pamusoro pezvese izvi basa guru kara MP nderekuti development ichifamba zvichiitika, asi mitemo inobatsiridza kuti nyika yedu inge ichigara zvakanaka ndo rinenge riri donzvo guru. So tinenge tichidzwa kwavari, hatisi kuti ndinoziva zvese, aiwa inini changu chete kususukidzwa kumberi. Tinenge tichinzwa tichivhunza kwavari, tichienda tichindopusha, tichitaura zvirumbi zvinoenderana nekuti mitemo inenge ichigadzirwa, inenge ichienda maringe neconstitution, inge iri mitemo inosumudzira vana veZimbabwe, inosumudzira kuzvitonga kwemaruva kana kuzvitonga kwemaprovinsi, inganzi muchirungu devolution. Ndo donzvo guru ratinenge tinaro kuti muzviwanikwa zvatinazvo izvozvo zvingasumudzira sei nzvimbo yekwedu, zvingaita sei kuti zvinge zvichikwanisa kubatsira vana kuti vayambuke matambudziko avakapinzwa makore esaya neZANU-PF, tichiisesa mitemo yakanaka munyika kuti vanhu vagare zvakanaka, kumbunyikidzana kunge kuchishaika.
I think tambokula ma-temperatures ngatiende ku-next scenario.
No, but ndada kungotaka in a very cool manner kungoti pane shoko rinotaurwa nevakuru kuti ane nhamo uyo anotungamidza bofu kuti rimutungamirire. Kune mukuru ataura tisingaraise matembers, munin'ina wangu Lavemore ati havana chavari kuoffer people now and they have no ideas. Yes, all right.
Unofana kuteerera kana vanhu vachitaura.
Havana kana
ziri kupa vanhu zvinhu zvishoma.
Saka ari kuudza vekuzaka kuti hamuna chamuchawana. Ataura nyaya yedevolution. Kuti munzwikisa chinhu chimwe chete. Zaka chii chainoproducer? Hapana. Imi munoda kuti mira tichari andina kuti
here kana kuti
teerera. Imi munoda kuti imi kana nzvimbo ichiproducer zvakawanda kana kuti kune madiamonds atinowana kumanikaland obva ati saka kumashonaland kusina madiamonds they must not benefit from what we get. It's true kuti Zimbabwe must benefit from everything as Zimbabweans because we are one. We cannot divide our country on what you get or what you don't get. Saka this idea devolution, it's a plan yavakakopa kuma American countries. Those are states, not provinces. You cannot divide a country by provinces for the purpose of the wealth. You can unite the country.
Time yedu iri kufamba ngatiende kumberi. Tingaramba tichiri panzvimbo imwe chete and uchazokandakira bhomba rako kana ndakupa mukana. Bonda achida kumbovhura ma-phone lines but ma-ground rules edu pano vanhu vanofona toziva kuti politics ma-temperature anokwira, vanhu vane ma-emotions akawanda, but ma-ground rules hatitukani, tinopana nama-constructive ideas. Hapana anotuka umwe. Taura zvekubato rako kuti zvamunoona kuti izvi zvakanaka, izvi zvakashata, tiri kuda candidate wakadai, muri kuzviona sei pakundovhota apa. Hatidi kutukana, ukangotuka tinongokata. Hello, welcome to Late Night Politics. Okay, the numbers to dial are 0772162000 651 or 0714414413 0772162651 0714414413 ndo manamba. But pane my scenarios akabuda 2 pane ya Jesse Majomi ku Harare West abva ati handichadi kumira ne MDC-T ndakuita independent uyezve ku Norton pakaita mutauro kuti kuva mutsvangwa vazocomplaina vazodzorerwa ndo vavasara vari vega aimbokwikwidza navo ambomira hanzi ndakuvabatsira kucampaigna. Tichadiscussa izvozvo rikati munzwa muterere. Hello, late night politics.
Hello.
Yes, you are live on Late Night Politics. Please go ahead.
Oh, thank you so much. Point yangu ndira kutaura na doctor. Ndokumbira kuti doctor vataurire vana veZimbabwe not to confuse us. This my doctor. We just want him for explanations. Kana vamwe vachitaura ka ngatingoita setinochancisa zvinhu zviri reasonable. From the point yavari kupa vari kutanga vari kungocrasha MDC, we want to know kuti ZANU-PF chii chavarida kutiitira rather than kuti vapedze nguva vachitaura nemunhu weMDC vachingocrasha zvavari kutaura. We want to hear his point so that isu semavoters tinosara tine mukana wekudecida kuti why ZANU-PF or MDC rather than kuti tingove so confused and overwhelmed nenyaya dzekuti weMDC muri kudarirei weZANU-PF muri kudarirei. Tokumbira kuti vangotiudza kuti ZANU-PF what are they up to, and then we make informed decisions. Toita sei sevana veZimbabwe maelections ari kuuya hatisuda the confusion nekusora kuti vari kutora zvekuwest or zvekupi, because MDC it's entitled to its own ways. Kana maprimaries ariyo ari kunetsa ka, but who said the primaries are the sole way yekuelecta macandidates? I think there are a million ways you can impose, you can do my primaries, you can do whatever method that suits your party. But I think Isu says we're not interested in all that. What we want is somebody who will help this country to move forward. And that's what I think Dr. Watibatsira kuti weZANU-PF vada kuti vaite sei, and I'm glad vada kubata imwe nyaya yekumashonari and west. I want to hear kuti ivo vachati chii pamusoro pezvozvo. Thank you.
Tinotenda zvikuru. Keep listening.
Right, thank you. Waita zvakanaka mutereri. Chekutanga ndada unzwise point iri panapa. ZANU-PF yakaburitsa inonzi manifesto inotsanangurira vanhu vemuZimbabwe kuti chii chatinoda kuitira Zimbabwe. One, tirikuda kudevelopa muzvirimwa zvedu, marimiro edu, taakuisa giya riri pamusoro kuti munhu wese hatichazofi nenzara zvakare kubva gore rino zvichikwira.
Mirai ndikumisa ipapo. Hello, welcome to Late Night Politics.
Hello, Maswera.
Taswera Maswerawo.
Ndabvunza dokutara kuti marodzi avanga vachiti akagadzirwa neZANU-PF redhi yedu yeHarare Township neHarare Military. ZANU-PF here yakagadzirwa marodzi evana vada kutapa vanhu.
Alright, tinotenda zvikuru. Thank you very much. All right, keep those calls coming because our time is running out. Participate in Late Night Politics. Tinotenda kuti vanhu vari kubvunza vasingatukani tinozvikurudzira izvozvo. Hapana anotuka umwe, ma-ideas ngaangotaurwa. Hello, welcome to Late Night Politics.
Hello, Maswera sevakuru.
Taswera Maswerawo.
Maswera. Apo vengi weZANU-PF vari kutaura kuti hanzi MDC yakatadza kurana maguta. Local government minister ari kubva kuZANU-PF. Ndopa havachakangana kuti ndokunoperera nyaya ikoko, ndopa vanga vakatsikira makii ikoko kokuti matowns ese arege kuona budget yakanaka kuti marodzi arege kuitwa vozouya pakambeni vachiti vakatadza, because the local government minister anobva kuZANU-PF, then mameya nechi vachibva kuMDC ndokanga vakasungira play vachakungozi hatikuziva, hatina kupusha, takangwara tinozviona.
Tichidzokera kutopic yedu, imi munovhota along party line kana kuti munovhota muchitarisa kuti uyu anogona sei?
Toda kuvhota tichitaura kuti uyu anogona sei. Whether ndeweZANU-PF kana ndeweMDC takuvhota zati anogona sei, but takasungirwa play because ku-local government ministry yanga yakapuwa vanhu ve-local government yakapuwa minister anobva kuZANU-PF.
Alright.
Kana ukati MDC yafeila haisiri inozopasa budget yematowns.
hatina development yatinowana kubva matowns kana vakati tisungira plain vaite zvinhu zviri open vaite zvinhu zviri fair kwete zvokuti vatisafise vanhu vangu vabudirana pachena kwete ngoclashanai mutora development vasapushane havasiri kuzimbabwe ivavo vese vari tunga varonge zvinhu zvoita kuti nyika ibudirire.
Thank you very much. Keep listening. Maita bas. The numbers to dial 0772162651, 0714414413. Teachers Odakuvara. Welcome to Late Night Politics.
Hello, Magadi.
Tripo Magadi.
Tripo. ZANU-PF wasati nyendere kuti new dispensation hapana new dispensation imboripo because mafesis anga aripo paikuwara nyika ndiwo amboripo wana munangagwewo saka andione chisa chiripo.
Thank you very much. Imi muchavhota muchitarisa kana muchivhota munovhota along party line kana kuti munovhota along kuti munhu ari kugona here kana kuti
tinotarisa munhu kuti ane capacity yekuita sei because hatisi kuda mapati chatiri kuda kuti nyika inake kwete pati.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Keep listening. Ndodangoti tipinze vakati wande then tovhara. Thank you very much. Let those calls come then tovataenda kuma panelists edu tovhara 0772162651 0714414413. Hello, welcome to Late Night Politics. You are live on Late Night Politics. Okay, that caller is not coming through. Welcome to Late Night Politics. Yes, you are live on Late Night Politics. Please go ahead.
Hello, what I think about Katishin Goshanti on stage. Those guys, they must just step down.
Kuvota anditi vanhu vachavhota.
Yes, also my primaries. Zvakafanana vekundisa zvakafanana nemunhu adakusveta timu yebhora anoziva kuti poba ndiyachero chichigowe. You put poba uteereri zvekutaura mafans.
Hauteereri?
Zvinenge zvichitaurwa nemafans kuteerera.
But anti vanhu ndo vanenge vachifanirwa kuzomuti ndewedu here uyu. Saka anofanirwa kuiswa neleadership.
But ini mumastructures mukaona kuti uyu anogona kuti you put a player awamunoziva kuti can make you win. So
anenge aisa apa ndiani?
Whatever, whoever anenge achiisa imposition sometimes kuti pasaprove any confusion. Look what is happening to not only. Pauda kuvhara chirongwa Georgia asati atipindura wezanu ngaatudze zvekuita pamutambo.
All right, saka you believe in imposition?
I believe in imposition. I consider confusion.
All right, thank you very much. 5 minutes to go. Ngatichite wrap up. Nyaya majome CHINOPUTSA. It seems abati akondikana kati aizvinda zvikonewa. Has the MDC-T suddenly become undemocratic? Chichaitika kuti jesa bude zvaikonekwa here?
Aiwa, kubuda kwa CCJS kuti vakuda kundomira se-independent. I think vataura ivo kuti vanga vasiri kugutsikana nemafambiro anga achiitika kuHarare West. Maringe nekuti munhu osarudzwa sei. Asi hazvireve kuti inini hangu takazvimiririra uye ndakamiririra vechidiki vese MDC. We still thought kuti CCJS vajome vaigona kunge vakataurirwa navo kana kuti communication yakavhurwa kuti zvavaifungidzira kuti hazvisi kuita zvakanaka zvingadai zvakagadziriswa. Asi it remains a democratic right to choose the route that she has chosen. We wish her well, but we expect the party also to look into the allegations that she has raised so that we'll be able to deal with these issues if they happen in the near future. We wish her well. Atina problem now. There was no reason for her at this point in time to run away because there was still room for her to have the party look into the issues that she was raising, but she didn't give the party an opportunity really to go through and investigate the allegations that she put through.
Is there a fear that you could lose the seat to ZANU-PF now?
No. ZANU-PF, Harare is never, will not be a stronghold of ZANU-PF. There is no.
I mean in Harare West.
There is no way Harare West will.
You are splitting the vote.
The vote
there will be Joanna Mamombe, then there will be Jessima Jome.
And the MDC is putting up a candidate who is equally capable. So we believe that Joanna Mamombe will be able to represent the aspirations of the people of Harare West better. Now that Sisi Jome decided not to participate in the primaries, we have confidence in Joanna Mamombe that she will be able to do very well. And she will win the constituents for the alliance.
And the supporters who love J. So you think the party here will prevail over the what if the Harare West voters decide?
When you look at Jesima Jome and Joanna Mamombe, these are two capable women. There's nothing that you can say that is wrong with any of the two. But obviously, at the end of the day, the one who has remained with the party will romp to victory. So both of them are equally good. They are capable. But at the end of the day, it will only have to be one. And in this case, it will be Joanna Mamombe because she has stood by the party.
Dr. MAVHAZA, the Norton issue, initially, Ambassador Mchangwa lost the primary elections by quite a wide margin, and then we hear that he is now back. There was a rerun, and then now we hear that the guy who had won the primary is no longer running. He has stepped down, and it will be Ambassador Mchangwa versus Muliswa at this point in time. I don't know if the MDC-T has selected anyone yet. Your views on that you have imposed Ambassador Mchangwa on the people of Norton, and it could backfire.
Chimiro chemuNorton chinoratidza unyanzvi hweZANU-PF kushandisa inonzi democracy. Yes, vamutsvanga vakaluza first time, and he made a complaint which the party looked at and felt that a rerun was necessary. Then the opponent came akati ndaku withdraw, and I'll be working now Amutsangwa, I'll be campaigning for Amutsangwa, which is what we are looking at, a unity of purpose. Whether Mutsangwa had lost by 20 million or by 1, at the end of the day, the other opponent withdrew and said, I'm going to support Mutsangwa, I'm going to work now Mutsangwa. That's what ZANU-PF does. It unites its people. We can fight for a position, and when we discover they've lost it, we come together, we find each other, and we fight for it. On the contrary, JC did not fail. She was victimized. She pulled out and said, I'm going to go it alone. So this shows that MDC is failing to unite its people even if they failed. It's not a point of saying anything. It's a point of, is it democratic? Now, I just want to quickly answer a few questions here. Firstly, while the Minister of Local Government was from ZANU-PF, we want to know the running, the governance of towns was all in the hands of MDC. And therefore, MDC has never brought up an issue to say, Tanyimwa Mari kugadzira marod. No, they never. They will simply say, Tanyimwa authority a person and the other. All they have to do, they didn't do their job. Number two, you must remember that MDC had members of parliament in the parliament. But in their constituencies, hakuna development. And yet he sits there and says they are promising to develop. What we are saying is MDC cannot sit here and blame ZANU-PF for non-development when there is no development in the constituencies they were representing themselves. So in other words, they failed. Rather, secondly, yes, we agree, people have suffered. And we are saying in our manifesto, from now on, the suffering must end. For ZANU-PF, we have plans, we have got the manifesto, we are looking for development, our agriculture, everything. Industries will be opening, and they are opening. And employment will be availed, and it is going to be availed. And we have a lot of things which is coming up. And yes, the purpose, one of the callers had said he believed, or he believes in imposing the primaries, and he equates it to a football team. We are talking about a country here, not of a team. MDC looks at this thing as a play, as a game. They look at the country as a team, and they have to impose players. No, Chamisa is not a coach. The people rule themselves. The democracy is people, the government of the people, by the people, for the people. So you cannot claim that their government will be for the people when they've imposed candidates. And yes, when we talk about that, let it be clear. I am not crushing MDC because there's nothing to crush. I'm simply saying facts. Whoever wants to have a check in our country must promise our country good. as we speak now, ZANU-PF has produced a manifesto, MDC haisati kunze kwe promise is still supported by what they will do to reach the promise. But what we need
more
now,
final words because our time is running out.
All I can say is that Zimbabweans are kuziya Zimbabweans hana kupusa, and when the time comes they're going to make a clear determination yekuti ndiani munhu anokwanisa kuvaendesa mberi.
Your last words, Dr. MAVHAZA, because our time is run out.
All I can say to dear listeners, fellow Zimbabweans, for development, let's look into the way where we have people who experience, we have done something wrong, we have failed here and there, and we are saying we are now prepared to do the best. And do not allow a blind person to come and experiment with your lives. ZANU-PF is there, and the manifesto is there for us to continue to develop the country.
There's no need yokutuka vanhu vakaremara. I think that is very unnecessary.
No, that is emotional blackmailing. We are talking about blind in your brains, not in your eyes. Because if you don't know what you want to offer people of Zaka, that becomes blind.
That's very disrespectful.
Thank you, gentlemen. The program has been Late Night Politics. We have been looking at the issue. Muno voter say, muno votera along party line. Ereka na uti muno votera candidate. Manyatso kuona makune njera kuti uyu. Ndiye anoita anenge anokwanisa kuti switsa kukenani. Tatine mu studio tatinewe ku ZANU-PF Dr. MASIMBA MAVHAZA. Uyezve neve MDC-T Youth Assembly Secretary General LOVEMORE CHINOPUTSA. Kuzaka, we can only wish you the best, and we hope come July, August tichazotaura kuti zvakafamba sei.
Zvinotofamba maita basa.
Tinotenda kuuya ku Dr. MAVHAZA.
Maita basa tere. Thank you, George.
Thank you for listening through, and we hope that you will catch me again next week for another edition of Late Night Politics as we discuss the political scenes in Zimbabwe. We just hope that wherever you are, my emotions ngaite mashoma, vanhu ngavataurirane, ngavanzwisisane, uterera kuti uyu ari kuti chii, womeka an informed choice. Tinoziva kuti my emotions akukwira, but let's not kuruza hama nekungoti ndada party yakati. Izvi zvinhu ndezveZimbabwe. Zimbabwe, people must make an informed choice. Atidi kuti tirovane kana kutukana. Munhu ngaakupe zvaari kuda kukuitira iwe choose wega kuti unoda zvakati. Muma primary election mumo vanhu ngavabatane zvakanaka. Vedwe tinopedzana maziso aya. Let there be peace in Zimbabwe. My name is George Musumba. Catch me again next week for another edition of Late Night Politics. But for tonight, it's good night, and have a wonderful night.
Thank you.
You've been listening to Late Night Politics on StarFm, taking an in-depth look at the Zimbabwean political scene. Join us again next week, Monday, same time on StarFM.